Today, you're not just listening to an astrology reading. You're stepping into a time when the collective brain of humanity is beginning to reset. On July 7th, Uranus, the planet of breakthroughs and awakenings, officially leaves Taurus after 7 years to enter Gemini. From digging into material values, the energy now shifts to hit directly at thought, communication, and the nervous system. Not just within you, but across the entire community you live in. And from that moment, things once believed to be absolute begin to shake. You'll sense something feels off in what you once learned, once heard, once said, or even once taught. That feeling isn't random. It's the first wave of a collective reset that will last until 2033. Not a sudden explosion, but a deep, silent tremor that slowly cracks the foundations of language, education, belief systems, and media. From here, those who keep speaking out of habit will gradually lose signal, while those who stay quiet enough to observe will be the first to see what is truth and what is simply being reprogrammed to manipulate the masses. If you've already begun to feel that wave, then follow this video to explore each energy layer that Uranus in Gemini is unfolding for you. Starting with layer 1, the collective nervous reset, the death of absolute thinking. Starting July 2025, Uranus enters Gemini, marking the beginning of a 7-year journey to reset the collective way of thinking. This isn't a shift that touches emotions or spirituality. It's a direct reset of how humans learn, think, communicate, and understand one another. What used to be seen as right beliefs is beginning to tremble. Maybe you once felt deeply aligned with a certain article, a lecture, or something you taught others with conviction. But now, you don't feel the same deep anger. But now, reading it again, you feel empty. Not because it's wrong, but because you're no longer on the same frequency. And this isn't happening to you alone. It's spreading across society. Whether or not you believe in astrology, if you're living in this era, you're being affected. Truth no longer comes from books, experts, or the majority. It comes from your ability to see without old frameworks. Uranus doesn't bring anything new. It simply makes what's old stop working. From this point forward, familiar language will begin to lose signal. You may still speak, but no one listens. You may still study, but nothing sticks. The awakened ones now aren't the best speakers, but those who know when to pause, observe, and are willing to rewrite the way they think. Or in the coming time, outdated communication models will gradually fade. On the other hand, those who live and share from what they genuinely believe, even slowly, even quietly, will begin to have impact. Not because they're better, but because they're broadcasting something real. And if you're feeling confused, unsure of what to trust, that's a good sign. Because doubt is the first step to recalling the voice of truth within you. Don't rush to replace it with something new. Let the truth arrive slowly but clearly. Because in layer 2, you'll see it's not just you losing faith. The entire community, even those who once seemed so sure, is quietly starting to ask new questions. And from there, the energetic current will begin to shift even deeper. After the first reset, mental frequencies began to split. Those who once reached millions can no longer connect. Not because they've lost their value, but because the frequency they once broadcast no longer matches. The collective is no longer looking for someone to teach them. They want to relearn on their own. They don't need anyone to inspire them. They're starting to ask themselves, where am I going, and why do I still not feel at peace? From here, soft power begins to dissolve. Not because the speaker lacks sincerity, but because the listener's filter has changed. Things that once moved people now sound empty. The signs are clear. Classes are still running, but students stop listening halfway. Posts are still published, but engagement drops. Videos are well produced, but no longer touch anyone. No backlash, just silence. And that silence is the clearest signal. The frequency has shifted. Those who don't update themselves will be phased out. This energetic layer doesn't ask you to quit your profession, but it won't let you stand still. You can't keep speaking words you no longer believe. You can't keep broadcasting a voice that your own heart no longer feels. So if you're in the work of sharing, take a pause. Not to give up, but to ask, does what I'm carrying still transmit a true signal? Because layer 3 will strike deeper. It won't just challenge your voice. It will begin to break down the very structures of education, media, and public thought. An old language will no longer reach anyone. When the speaker starts losing signal, it's not just them who changes. The language they once used to connect also begins to lose its power. You may look back at things you once wrote with all your heart, and yet now you no longer feel anything. It's not because you were wrong. It's not because you've regressed. It's because the frequency has shifted. And words that once touched others no longer carry real feeling. Uranus in Gemini is hollowing out the collective vocabulary. Words like healing, awakening, and high vibration, which once stirred emotion, now sound like nothing but noise. Not because their content is wrong, but because the listener has changed frequencies. You can speak eloquently, you can write beautifully, but if there's no honesty inside, no matter how perfect your words, they won't reach anyone. This wave creates a clear phenomenon, internal signal distortion. You think a lot, speak a lot, write a lot, but no one hears you. Not because you're not good enough, but because you haven't yet aligned with the new energy. People no longer want pretty words or polished phrases. They want a language that's real, not borrowed, not hiding behind "my teacher said," "the universe told me," or "the book says so." All it remains is one thing. This is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm feeling. This energetic layer doesn't judge right or wrong. It simply filters. If you're still connected to something real, even a few words will be felt. But if you're out of sync, no matter how much you say, it will only echo back. And if you're brave enough to step through that space where old language loses its power, you'll begin to access a new voice. And one that doesn't need to be taught, doesn't need to be forced. But anyone who hears it will know. That's the voice of truth. Next, layer 4 won't stop at the personal. It will go straight into the heart of systems, where individuals inside begin to question what they once stood for. Collapse doesn't begin with protest or rebellion. It starts quietly with something almost no one says out loud. The very people who once upheld the system are quietly losing faith in what they represent. A teacher freezes mid-lesson. A specialist falls silent mid-sentence. Someone who once moved thousands to tears returns to their room and feels nothing but emptiness inside. There is an awakening silently rising within them, and from that stillness, the entire system begins to tremble. This energy doesn't break down the structure. It simply hollows out each person from within. When the work no longer carries real meaning, the system may still be standing, but its soul has already fractured. More and more people are quietly leaving education, media, and healing professions not because they failed, but because they can no longer continue performing a role that, at this point, even AI can replicate. They don't need to speak up, but their silence is the clearest answer of all. This wave doesn't ask what you do. It asks, do you still believe in it? It cuts straight to the core of professional ethics, to the place where you once sacrificed for a higher ideal, and now must confront the truth. Is that ideal still alive? Some will stop. Others will continue, but no longer chasing scale or recognition. They begin again, smaller, slower, but truer. You're not to go viral, but to live aligned with something that still feels real inside, even when everything else has changed. Because this is not a time of loud rebellion. It's a time of quiet awakening. There's no need to expose anyone, only a need to be honest enough to stop playing along. This energy places you at a clear threshold. Continue out of duty or pause to live with truth. And if you've ever been part of the system, you might be the first to see the crack. Not to run away, not to resist, but simply to be honest. If you no longer believe, stop. If you no longer feel it, let go. If you want to do things differently, start learning again. From one real thing. One thing you can live with without pretending. Because from layer 5 onward, the shift will no longer be collective. It will go straight into the individual. Each person, each zodiac sign will be called by name. And those with prominent Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, or Pisces will be the first to pivot in this new cycle. After the systems began to fracture from within, the energy no longer moves through collective waves. It now enters each individual into their own mental circuitry. And in that journey, not everyone is called at the same time. Uranus chooses a few focal points first, places where the nervous system, mindset, and life orientation are most ready to shift. If you have Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, or Pisces in prominent positions in your birth chart, then perhaps you've already felt it. Not dramatically, not clearly, just a sense that something inside is being stirred, reoriented, or renewed. Gemini, the one who gets touched first. As the first sign Uranus enters, you cannot avoid this pivot. But instead of leading as before, you're now being asked to stop speaking first, to learn how to listen to your own inner voice again. Over the next 7 years, you'll have to relearn how to think, write, and speak, not to please the crowd, but to speak from a deeper, truer place. Change will arrive suddenly in your career, environment, how you communicate. Everything will be refreshed. But this isn't chaos. It's a full system hack of your nervous and cognitive wiring, and from that, you'll become the one rewriting the new language for the world around you. Sagittarius, the one challenged by old beliefs. If Gemini is shifted at the level of language, you, if Sagittarius, will be called at the level of belief. All the truths that once kept you grounded will now turn into questions, not to negate them, but to let you ask, what still feels alive? What has become doctrine? This transformation won't be external. It begins from within your own life philosophy. You'll find yourself stripping down what you once taught, stepping back to ask, am I truly living what I believe, or just repeating what I inherited? And if you dare to be honest, this could be the stage where you step into the highest tier of your own wisdom. But if you cling to what's outdated, you may find yourself pushed away from your truest self. Virgo and Pisces, those most prone to temporary overwhelm. This new wave forms a harsh square with the mental circuitry of both signs, not to break you, but to disrupt you just enough to make you pause. You may feel more fatigued working with data, language, or analysis, as if your brain is lagging behind, thoughts out of sync, or words no longer capturing what you truly mean. But this is not the end. This is the moment to stop, observe, and let your mind reset to a new frequency. Not everyone is meant to push forward. Some, like you, need to power off, reboot, and if you can move through this stage, you'll become the one able to translate old values into a new era, using a language that's clearer and more accessible than ever. This is not the time to accelerate, it's the moment to pause and re-examine. What frequency are you truly living on? Are you still running the right signal? Or are you operating on an outdated system? And if you're among the first signs being called, remember, it's not because you're the problem, it's because you're the forerunners of this transformation. And the next wave of energy will soon reach the fixed signs, those who once thought they were done with the lesson, but in truth have only completed half the cycle. We'll step into layer 6, when old aftershocks become new foundations. The final challenge for the fixed signs. After the first wave of individuals have pivoted, the next energetic shift will return to the fixed signs, Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. You might think you're done, that you've survived it all. After all, for the past 7 years, you were among the first to learn how to stand in the eye of the storm. But no, the aftershocks are not over, and the lessons are still here, just in a different form. Taurus, the one who learned to live differently with money. You've had everything you once believed was stable broken down. Finances, career, relationships, home, income. Everything you thought was secure collapsed beneath your feet. But that didn't make you weaker, it forced you to rebuild from within. And now, as Uranus leaves Taurus, the blows stop. You begin to stand as a pillar, showing others how to stay steady in the middle of chaos. If you've learned flexibility in your values, then from here on, you won't need to prove anything. No need to argue or explain. Just living in truth, your frequency will speak for itself. And when you can hold that kind of groundedness, the world will naturally come to you. Scorpio, the one who no longer fears change. No sign transforms through pain like you. And none has been peeled so deeply to the core over the past 7 years. The relationships you clung to left, the beliefs you held tight, disintegrated. The parts of yourself you hid were exposed. But after everything, you're still standing. Only now, you're no longer who you were. This time, the energy isn't here to push you further, but to help you look back at all you've shed. so you can choose clearly what to keep and what to let go. No more patching up, no more holding on, just living truly through what's already been refined. Leo, the one reclaiming their inner light. You haven't said it aloud, but deep down you know. These 7 years dimmed your spotlight. You weren't seen, you weren't heard, you weren't recognized. You used to shine and then felt like you faded inside your own life. But this wasn't to break you. It was to teach you how to radiate again, from the inside out. No stage, no spotlight, just stepping forward with substance, fresh thinking, honest content, true words. This time, your light won't be about appearance. It will come from maturity of mind. And if you dare to express it, you'll shine again, stronger, clearer, and longer lasting. Aquarius, the one rebuilding systems from the inside out. You've never lived only for yourself. You've always seen yourself as part of something larger. That's why any shift at the societal level, you feel it first. In recent years, you've carried so much. Ideas, visions, projects far ahead of their time. But few truly understood the root of what you've been holding. You've tried hard but couldn't escape the feeling of being alone. Your signal was just too far ahead of the mainstream. But now, with Pluto in your sign and Uranus forming a trine, the map of the future is starting to open in your hands. Not for you to lead others, but for you to become the new anchor for the right people, the right frequencies, the right purpose. This wave of energy doesn't come to test you again. It comes to mark the close of a turbulent cycle and formally hand you your new role. If the last 7 years were about surviving the storm, then the next 7 are about standing tall in what you've learned and helping others not fall. Because Layer 7 will no longer focus on individuals. It will move straight into the battleground of media, intellect, and technology, where concepts like truth, falsehood, right, and wrong will begin to break apart. We now step into Layer 7, when truth becomes fragmented and language turns into a weapon. After passing through the deepest energetic shifts, from personal to systemic, from mindset to belief, you enter a phase without dramatic events. Yet it's quiet enough to trigger an unnamed crisis. We are living in a time where truth is no longer a solid block, but scattered into fragments. Part of it exists in podcasts, part of it drifts through leaked data, part is written by AI, and part is something you feel inside, but no one else confirms. And when truth is fragmented, people begin to question everything, including themselves. You believe a piece of information in the first 3 seconds, then hesitate by the second minute you scroll past. Not because you're shallow, but because your mind is exhausted from verifying truth and falsehood every single day. At this point, language is no longer a bridge. It becomes a tool of direction. A perfectly timed sentence can make you believe and confuse you, double, then numb you. Everything that's written may be correct, well argued, even moving, but still hollow. And now that AI can produce content that feels more authentic than human words, the question is no longer who is right, but rather who still holds a real voice. A voice that isn't borrowed, that isn't repeated, that isn't mimicked. A voice no technology can replicate. This wave doesn't lead you astray. It confuses you. Right within the things you thought were most certain, there are no guides, no shared maps. The only thing left is your ability to hold a clear inner compass, not swept away by the flood of data, not manipulated by loud voices, not pulled into the gravity of popular truth. This is the moment you must choose a point of view, a voice that truly arises from within, and hold on to it. Not something learned from someone else, but something distilled from all your doubt, your friction, your awakening. It may not be understood right away, but it is the only thing that still breathes in a world full of artificial echoes. This frequency will stretch from 2025 to 2027, long enough to filter who is real, who is performing. No one needs to call anyone out. Each person will sort themselves by the exact frequency they choose to keep. And if you've made it here, you no longer need anyone to tell you what's true, because you've already touched that frequency, not through theory, but through direct awareness. After all the turbulence, there comes a phase of deep stillness, not because the world is quieter, but because within you the channels that no longer match your frequency have been switched off. Your mind no longer gets dragged along. It begins to filter the waves and keeps only what's real. From here, you no longer listen just to believe, no longer read just to understand. Your brain no longer stores information like it used to. It only opens to what truly resonates. Everything else, no matter how correct or beautiful, if it's not real, it simply falls away. You'll feel this shift clearly within yourself. Suddenly, you can't finish that podcast you used to love. You stop halfway through a post you once found meaningful. You can't keep performing, even with yourself, because deep down, the time for pretending is over. This energy doesn't choose based on age, profession, or credentials. It doesn't care if you're accomplished. It only asks if you're real, if you're still yourself, not dissolved into the noise, not needing agreement to live by what you truly believe. And then you'll see, the people around you may be fewer, but they're aligned. It may be quieter, but voices are clearer. You're no longer chasing trends. You're creating a space of your own, a space where there's real frequency, real people, and real values. Because this new wave doesn't need to travel far. It only needs to land in the right place. And what is aligned will find each other. You've just journeyed through the 8 most profound energy layers in Uranus's 7-year transit through Gemini. These shifts didn't just happen around you. They reached into the very way you think, speak, and live. Not because you're special, but because you were awake enough to pause and recognize what still feels true for you. Starting this October, the things you once only sensed will begin to show proof, and you will no longer need anyone to validate what's right or wrong, because you'll have seen the truth through your own lived experience. The door is open now. It's no longer locked. Whether you step through or not is up to you. No one can force you, but no one can walk through it for you either.